Good morning.
Morning,
I'm Colton Bartell,
and I'm Audie Bartell.
and we are both graduate gemologists here at Suzann's Custom Jewelers. We want to welcome you to this episode of Family Jewels, and we're going to be talking about one we haven't done before. We got three seasons now, and we've never talked about this, but because it's been such a big topic with customers lately, and with repair work lately, we figured we better cover it. And so what we're going to be talking about is hollow jewelry and what is called Electroform jewelry, which is another hollow type of jewelry, but it's just a whole different process. But we're going to be talking a little bit about how it's made and some of the pros and cons to it. Seems like maybe more cons than pros, but either way, we're going to cover it and kind of let you know a little bit more about it, because a lot of people don't realize when they're buying this stuff what it really is and what to expect from it.
Right. I think what lures them in the most is you get basically a big gold look for less price, because there's basically a whole lot less metal.
Yeah.
It's hollow.
Yeah.
It's actually, if you figure the gold weight and the price, it's actually more expensive because it's more difficult to make.
Yes.
But your, I guess I'll say, value is
your expense is higher per weight, but quality is lower, or durability is lower.
Durability is lower.
Yeah.
So it kind of depends a little bit on, like, we were talking about getting examples, and I know, did you get some?
No. It's going to be too hard to show on here anyway.
But like one thing where it does make a little bit of sense would be like earrings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to some degree, you don't have just near as much wear on earrings as what you would like. Well, I've actually seen hollow rings.
Yeah.
Literally hollow rings.
Yeah.
I mean, they look like they're solid, but they're not. So, you get a dent in that. It's not like a car where you can just pull that dent out.
No, it's not.
So you pretty much...
And you don't want to Bondo it.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if you could. Well, I guess you could, but would it stay on?
I don't know. I think you're going to have to get like some Lego men to do the work, though.
Yeah.
It'd be on a pretty small scale.
Yeah, pull the little deal out.
Yeah.
But so on earrings, I could kind of see that. And especially, if you want like a big earring, you don't want all that weight pulling on your earlobe anyways. But for almost everything else, especially chain and rings,
not a good idea.
No. You can get that Mr. T look a lot less expensive in a hollow rope than what you can a solid rope.
Yeah.
And I guess you don't have to have as much muscle to hold it up or whatever, but
true.
The problem is you're only going to get the Mr. T look for just a little while, because if you have to repair that, it's really difficult to weld on air and get it to hold. Yeah,
it really is. It's like it is like welding on air. It's like, okay, well, we need to fit these two pieces together, but we need you to do it right here in the middle, and then we're gonna stuff together. It's just it's
so just to give you an idea, like on chain, we'll just say take a rope chain. You can make it using wire, which is solid, or you can do tubing, which is hollow, and so it gets to be that's really thin wall tubing.
Yeah, because most of these are going to be, if you have let's say a 4mm chain and you're wanting to make it hollow, well, the only way you're actually going to do any good is you're going to have really thin walls on this stuff. So we're talking maybe the thickness of like 3 sheets of paper at most is about the thickness of this metal that's making these hollow chains.
And get this, it's still welded.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still welded, which is pretty incredible.
But you can imagine, then you got 6 pieces of paper is your weld,
Yeah,
and that's your strong point.
that's your strong point. Yeah, and so they're fairly easy to break. They're really easy to stretch. They're extremely difficult to fix. And to make matters worse is most people choose to put pendants on them.
Yeah.
And when you get bigger chains, you get a 4 to 6 millimeter chains, a lot of people put really heavy pendants on there. And those are just not made for that.
No.
You need to have a solid chain. And so we've been seeing a lot of this where we're repairing this hollow chain. And the problem gets to be is you end up with a stiff spot in the chain, which is pretty much inevitable. But usually what happens is when these break, it's due to getting pulled or something like that, so it's getting stretched to the point. Well, when it does that, it's like if you were to take a straw and pull on the ends hard enough to the point that it's going to break, it like collapses on itself. Mm-hmm. And so it's, instead of having it round like this where it should be, say this is like the cross section of that chain.
Like this.
It goes... Yeah, it goes like that.
I didn't know if you could do that.
I can handle that part.
Help with the demonstration.
Yeah, I can handle that. So, but it'll flatten out like this. We don't have a way of opening that up. So then you actually have these indentations in each of these links. And
maybe we need to make like a little tube opener upper.
No.
That's something I'll bet you hasn't been invented yet. So.
For a reason. But basically what we're saying is, we still offer hollow chain, but it comes with a precaution because, it's not...
I can't say the last time we sold a hollow chain.
Yeah. It's been a long while.
But one reason why this topic came up is, I think it was either Friday or Saturday, we had a customer come in that was needing a chain repair, and it was a hollow rope, and he'd only had it a week. So,
yeah.
I mean,
they're not real durable.
No.
They look good new. They're terrible to clean. That's another thing is with them being hollow, they tend to get pretty dirty, and they'll actually hold that stuff. Because the ends of these links are still open. Even though everything's welded together, the ends of those links are all still open. So it's like a sponge. And so if you shower in it and stuff like that, it's going to hold water and soap and whatever else you're washing off. Perfume and lotions and stuff like that. And so that actually is another thing that makes them difficult to work on, because if you've got all this stuff stuck in there and you're trying to weld on it, it contaminates the weld. And it makes it even worse. It won't stick to each other. And so
it's a gluing process that you're doing? Or?
No, I just have to... They set in the ultrasonic forever, and it's bad.
Yeah.
Where it does have the benefit, like you said, was with like the earrings. Because with the other process, so we've talked about kind of the hollow chain a little bit. One of the more common processes for making gold earrings, especially large ones with a lot of different shapes and stuff to them, is what's called Electroform. And what it is they're actually making a mold of what it is they're wanting to make. They're coating it in basically a conductive, almost like a coating, basically a conductive coating. And then they're putting this in a bath that has metal in solution, gold in solution.
So it's not like a bubble bath.
No, it's not a bubble bath. And running an electric current through it, and what it's doing is this conductive coating that's on the piece is actually attracting those metal particles that are in that solution until they build it up enough that they have something in metal. But again, it's only so thick. It's basically a shell.
But they can get it.
They can get it fairly thick,
yeah.
But most pieces are not.
Right.
What they do, though, is those molds that they're initially making are usually made out of wax. Usually some sort of a kind of a low temp wax. And what they're going to do is after that is formed, then those are run through a heating process, and so there's usually a little hole left over, and they melt that wax out, leaving a hollow piece of jewelry. The problem gets to be, again, is, if it gets dropped on a hard surface and it's fairly large piece, or
it
gets shut or something in a jewelry box or something like that, it gets dented, and those are near impossible to repair. The other problem that we see really often is the ear post or the lever that's on it or whatever breaks off, and it takes a piece of that earring with it, and then we've got to try and weld, not where there's something to weld to, but we've got to try and weld on that thin part where it broke from, and it's near impossible to get it perfectly welded back together. But
it's still a lot easier to do than what welding a hollow chain is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you can maybe make a pad or something and kind of do that post, and it's not near as big a deal, but it's still not welding something solid.
Yeah.
There are, and the other thing we've basically talked about, earrings and chain. There are also rings that are done the same way. They're not quite as bad, except if you have to size it.
Or you're rough on jewelry.
Yeah, because then you got the dent thing again.
Or you're wanting to set stones in them.
Yeah, so I guess it's just as bad.
It's just as bad. It may be worse.
A lot of this stuff, that they're doing hollow or whatever, there's a plan, and that plan is worked so that all of that stuff that is difficult for repair
is done initially.
Yeah, so they don't have to worry about it.
But, Good morning, Myrtle.
But we got problems afterwards if we have to do repair work on it.
The other one that we've done a lot of repair work on lately has been hollow bracelets, especially bangles. Those, what ends up happening is usually the clasp end breaks off. And so now we basically have a big old hollow tube that is usually jagged. It seems like it never breaks cleanly. It's always going to be jagged. And so trying to weld that back on, and almost all of these seem to have a pattern on them too, making sure that the pattern matches up and everything is very difficult to do. So basically, when it comes down to it, I guess the only ones we would actually recommend would be the hollow earrings.
Yeah.
Because really anything else is a little bit difficult.
I've seen some hollow bracelets that's got the hammered look to it to begin with. So
I guess that would be all right.
Then it's not so bad, because they're going to get beat up anyways and get dents in them. So they're almost a little bit of that. What would you call it? I guess hammered look. It's got little dents, but they're all arranged right. It's a little bit kind of like platinum is going to scratch. Yeah. So you engrave it ahead of time so you don't notice the scratches. So.
Yeah, you could do that, I guess, but
it's just as long as you don't have to repair it. But then you don't have to pull the dents out because, it's already dented.
Yeah.
But
so, it's not often that we get on here and we talk about something that we don't recommend, but at the same time, we also want you guys to be informed. And so this is one that we've seen a lot of people disappointed with their purchase afterwards, and so this is more of a kind of I guess a precautionary episode.
Well, it's one of those where it's almost kind of one of those deals. It looks like a good deal, but maybe it's not. A lot of people are not aware that there's even the biggest problem is the hollow chain.
Yeah, by far, and the hollow rope.
Right.
Is the most common.
Right. And so, I would say a lot of people, if they haven't ever worn a chain or had a chain or something like that, and they're going in there and this one's like maybe a third as much as what another one the same size is.
It looks like a great deal.
Yeah.
But the problem gets to be is once you've purchased it, it could be, it may last you years, or in some cases, like recently we've seen, it may not even last you a week.
Yeah.
So, talking about chain, on the flip side of this, those solid chains are actually a lot more durable than what people would expect them to be. We have a lot of people that say, they'll see one of the pendants that we have in the case, and they see like a little, maybe 1.5 millimeter, maybe like a Singapore or rope or wheat chain on there, and they're like, well, is that strong enough? And it's like, yeah, it's a lot stronger than what it appears to be. And then on this other side of things, you have the hollow ones that appear to be a lot stronger than what they really are.
Yeah.
And so it's just something, it's come up a lot recently, so we wanted to kind of discuss it. And
yeah, what's kind of amazing, I guess, is
bit.
that Singapore that you're talking about, those links are about as heavy as what the walls are on that hollow rope.
Yeah.
Never really thought about that.
Yeah. And they're stronger because of that, because they're not tube, they're still solid links. It's actually stronger than what the hollow stuff is. So, yeah.
Oh, we just figure out stuff every day. It's just amazing.
Yeah. But, again, it's one of those deals, you get what you pay for. And so if it's looking like, it's just a crazy good deal, odds are there's something amiss.
It's the crazy is probably right. I'm not sure about the good deal, but the crazy deal would be about right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway.
So we just kind of wanted to bring it up. We've seen several here in the last couple weeks. Actually, last week we saw several. That's probably what kind of prompted us to do this anyway. So,
yeah.
It's something that you buy and it's already broken in a week. And, I don't know how much the chain was worn, but it looked new, except it's broke.
Yeah. Yep. So it's just something to be a little bit cautious of. Everything has its application. It's just that especially these hollow chains, always seem to be purchased and used for what a solid chain should be done. And
yeah, and I can I can understand it. Especially a guy is wanting to wear, say a 4 or 5 millimeter chain, and
without a pendant,
I know, but
it's fine.
But I'm thinking, he doesn't want to spend $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
So, that hollow rope looks pretty good until. Okay, so you spent, I don't know what they...
a few $100s on it, now you're going to have to spend a couple $100 just to get it fixed.
Well, maybe that, or say, if it only lasts a week,
yeah.
So you get 52 of them or something, so you got a year's worth. Yeah, I know it's a little... But, gold got expensive, and that hollow rope got a lot more... What?
Enticing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just kind of watch out there. Make sure that I guess what we're kind of saying is about the only thing that you can do something hollow with that makes sense to us, anyways, is probably earrings.
Yeah. And even then, you need to be a little bit cautious with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of wraps it up.
Yeah. But if you guys have any other questions about hollow jewelry or Electroform, anything like that, or any other jewelry related questions, you can always email us or send us a message right here on Facebook and comment on this video. And if you guys have any suggestions of videos that you'd like us to do in the future, we'd love to hear them. And so if you guys have any other questions or you'd like to see some jewelry or something like that, you can always stop by our store Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 6, right here in the Town and Country Shopping Center at 4226 South Alameda. Or you can give us a call at 361-991-7565 or visit us online at Susanns-Jewelers.com. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.